Jayo Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Palava Jayo Giri Paradhari Jayo Giri Paradhari Gopijana Palava Jayo Giri Paradhari Jayo Giri Paradhari Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Kunja Bihare Jayo Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachare Jayo Kunja Bihare Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Tutarasata Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Tutarasata A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Nanta Konti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardham ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Mayapur Dham ki Shri Jagannath Puri Purukshotam Akshita Dham ki Ganga Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Bhakti Devi ki Shrimati Tulsi Devi Maharani ki Harinam Sankirtan Yaga ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Gaura Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanan namaskrityam Naram chaiva narotamam Devim sarasvatim vyasam Tato jaya mudiraye Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 15, Parasurama, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation, Text 16, 224. So I'll keep reading till text 24, so then we can repeat that verse. Sri Rajovacha. Oh, let's do one thing. Let's read 24. Also, you repeat, and then I will go back to the other verses, just so we can start. Tasmai sa naradevaya munirarhanam aharat sasainyamatyavahaya havishmatya tapodhanaha Tasmai sanaradevaya munirarhanam aharat sasainyamatyavahaya havishmatya tapodhanaha Tasmai sanaradevaya munirarhanam aharat sasainyamatyavahaya havishmatya tapodhanaha munirarhanam aharat Tasmai, unto him, Saha, he, Jamadagni, Naradevaya, unto King Karta Virya Arjuna, Munihi, the great sage. Arhanam, paraphernalia for worship. Aharat, offered. Sasainya, with his soldiers. Amatya, his ministers. Vahaya, and the chariots, the elephants, the horses, or the men who carried the palanquins. Havishmatya, because of possessing a kamadhenu, a cow that could supply everything. Tapak Tanaha, the great sage, whose only power was his austerity, or who was engaged in austerity. Translation: the sage Jamadagni, who was engaged in great austerities in the forest, received the king very well, along with the king's soldiers, ministers, and carriers. He supplied all the necessities to worship this guest, for he possessed a Kamadhenu cow that was able to supply everything. So now I will go back to text 16 to 24, and then I will read the purport. So text 16, Sri Rajovacha Kimtad Amho Bhagavato Rajanyar Ajitat Mavih Kritam Yena Kulam Nashtam Kshatriyanam Abhikshanasaha. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, what was the offense that the Kshatriyas, who could not control their senses, committed before Lord Parasurama, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for which the Lord annihilated the Kshatriya dynasty again and again. Text 17 and 19. Shri Badarayanir Uvacha Haihayanam Adipatir Arjuna Kshatriyar Shavaha Datam Narayanam Shamsan Aradhya Parikarmavih Bahundasha Shatam Lebe Durdar Shatam Aratishu Abhyahatendriyau Shri Tejo Virya Yashobalam Yogeshparatvam Aishvaryam Guna Yatra Nimadayak Chachara Vyahatagatir Lokeshu Pavano Yatha. Translation: Sukadeva Goswami said, the best of the Kshatriyas, Kartavirya Arjuna, the king of the Haihayas, received 1,000 arms by worshipping Dattatreya, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. He also became undefeatable by enemies and received unobstructed sensory power, beauty, influence, strength, fame, and the mystic power by which to achieve all the perfection of yoga, such as Anima and Lagima. Thus, having become fully potent, he roamed all over the universe without opposition, just like the wind. Text 20. Striratnar avrita kridam revam bhasi madokataha Vaijayantim srajam bhibhrat rurodha saritham bhujai. Translation: once, while enjoying in the water of the river Narmada, the path up Kartavirya Arjuna, surrounded by beautiful women and garlanded with a garland of victory, stopped the flow of the water with his arms. And there is in text 21, Viplavitam swashiviram pratishrota sarichalai nama sriyatta setat viryam viramani dashananaha. Translation. Because Kartavirya Arjuna made the water flow in the opposite direction, the camp of Ravana, which was set up on the bank of the Narmada near the city of Mahishmati, was inundated. This was unbearable to the 10-headed Ravana, who considered himself a great hero and could not tolerate Kartavirya Arjuna's power. Purport: Ravana was out touring to gain victory over all other countries, Digvijaya, and he had camped on the bank of the Narmada river near the city of Mahishmati. Text 22. Grihito lilayastrinam samaksham kritakil vishak mahishmatyam sanirudho mukto yena kapiryata. Translation. When Ravana attempted to insult Kartavirya Arjuna in the presence of the women and thus offended him, Kartavirya Arjuna easily arrested Ravana and put him in custody in the city of Mahishmati, just as one captures a monkey and then releases him neglectfully. Text 23. Sa ekadatu mrigayam vicharam vijane vane yadrikchaya shramapadam shamadakne rupa vishat. Once, while Kartavirya Arjuna was wandering and engaged in a solitary forest in hunting, he approached the residence of Shamadagni. Purport. Kartavirya Arjuna had no business going to the residence of Jamadagni, but because he was puffed up by his extraordinary power, he went there and offended Parasurama. This was the prelude to his being killed by Parasurama for his offensive act. Text 24. Tasmai sanaradevaya munirarhanam aharat sasanyamatyavahaya havishmastya tapodanaha. Translation. The sage Jamadagni, who was engaged in great austerities in the forest, received the king very well, along with the king's soldier, minister, and carriers. He supplied all the necessities to worship this guest, for he possessed a Kamadhenu cow that was able to supply everything. Purport. Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Brahma Samhita informs us that the spiritual world, and especially the planet Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna lives, is full of Surabhi cows, Surabhir Abhipalayantam. The Surabhi cow is also called Kamadhenu. Although Jamadagni possessed only one Kamadhenu, he was able to get from it everything desirable. Thus, he was able to receive the king, along with the king's great number of followers, ministers, soldiers, animals, and palanquin carriers. When we speak of a king, we understand that he is accompanied by many followers. Jamadagni was able to receive all the king's followers properly and feed them sumptuously with food prepared in ghee. The king was astonished at how opulent Jamadagni was because of possessing only one cow, and therefore he became envious of the great sage. This was the beginning of his offense. Parasurama, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, killed Kartavirya Arjuna because Kartavirya Arjuna was too proud. One may possess unusual opulence in this material world, but if one becomes puffed up and acts whimsically, he will be punished by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the lesson to learn from this history, in which Parasurama became angry at Kartavirya Arjuna and killed him, and rid the entire world of Kshatriyas 21 times. Ajnanati mirandasya jnananjana salakaya chakshurum militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam prangulangayate girim yatkripat maham vande shri gurum dinataranam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyade Shatarine Panchakalpa Taruvyaschа Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Everyone, good morning. So I have a question about a question. What was the question of Maharaj Parikshit? Yes. Without looking. Can you remember? Yes, but specifically not why he killed, but yeah, what was the offense? Yes. What was the offense that the Kshatriya who could not control their senses committed before Lord Parasurama? So it's implying that they committed an offense because of not controlling the senses. Because you cannot control. If you cannot control yourself, when you are angry, upset, then you react with your body. Your body can show the anger. So when you are not controlling your mind, you can commit an offense. Therefore, we are trained, even from a child, also trained. When the child becomes upset in the market, we start screaming, and the parents are like, stop. And so we get trained. But there are moments in which even if we are adult persons, we cannot control. And even people who was trained in the Vedic culture, they also were having trouble controlling their senses. Sometimes, even great. We have the anger. What are the three gates that go to hell? Lust, anger, and greed. Okay, so what was the offense that the Kshatriya who could not control their senses committed before Lord Parasurama? Lord Parasurama is an avatar, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or of Vishnu Amsha, for which the Lord annihilated the Kshatriya dynasty. So he's famous because he was empowered to destroy the 21 generation of Kshatriyas. And here starts the story. So then we have Sukadeva Goswami's answer that will be very elaborated along the whole chapter. So he mentioned that a king who was called, he had the name of a Pandava, one of the Pandava, Arjuna. It's for Kartavirya, Arjuna. There are two Arjunas, and both are famous. One is Krishna Bhakta, Pandava, Arjuna, but we have also this Kartavirya Arjuna, who both of them were very powerful. And both of them used the bow, were expert at using the bow. So he was the king of the Himalayas, And how many arms he had? 1,000 arms. So he was very powerful. Therefore, you'd see how he could control Ravana, who was like, it looked like a strange how he could treat Ravana like a monkey. Ravana was so powerful. He had 10,000 heads, but he has 10,000 arms. He seems to be more powerful. 10 heads, Ravana. Yeah, but Kartavira Arjuna have arms, but not 10,000, yes, 1,000 arms. And Ravana 10,000. 10 heads. Okay, thank you. I don't know why. It was too spectacular. It will be that could be a Brahman. Okay, yeah. There are Brahmans, 10,000. Yeah, thank you. So he was, Kartavira Arjuna, he's very powerful. He's a king. And how he got these 10,000, these 1,000 arms? Yes. Yeah, so it's in that when we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, most of the characters that become very powerful is because they worship someone. No? And either Vishnu, or the incarnation of Vishnu, like Dattatreya, or a demigod, like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma. Like Hiranyakashipu was worshipping Lord Brahma, he also worshipped Lord Shiva. And sometimes most of the time, when they worship, when a person worships someone for power, when they get the power, they become proud. So before they worship, they are very humble, and after they get fulfill their desires, they become powerful. Does it look different from current days, in which people also, instead of worshiping, they work very hard or please someone, and they get also great positions in society, and also sometimes they become very proud. And if you read the news, it's very often, now there has been a scandal with I don't want to say names because this is Bhagavatam class. I have to say the names of the characters. Srimad Bhagavatam, but there was a person who was very famous and powerful in Hollywood, and then he's been accused by sexual assault, and then now you have been he was very powerful, and now he's whole society is blaming everyone, he's down now. So we have this dynamic of being powerful and then become completely obsolete and powerful over the time. So this will happen here, we will see. And it happens all the time in the stories of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have over and over these kings that get very powerful, they get puffed up, and then they either die or they fall down. So he also became undefeatable by enemies and received unobstructed sensory power, beauty, influence, strength, fame, and the mystic power by which to achieve all the perfection of yoga. So he, Krishna is Aishvarasya, Samagrasya, Yasasya, Viryasya, that he has the 6 opulences, and also the people are looking after those opulences also. Krishna possesses them in full, in different degrees. People also, the jiva, can possess these opulences. But sometimes you can get them in a way beyond the general, the average people, no? Like Kartavira Arjuna, he has this sensory power, mystic powers that put you above the general people. Again, nowadays we may not have people with mystic powers like in the Vedic times, but we have people who are they have arms, weapons, or they have money. In many ways, they are more powerful than the average people. They are. Then, what happened? He became fully opulent and was, wandering all over the universe, not just the planet Earth, the universe, like the wind, without any opposition. So, in other words, he was very powerful. Nobody could defeat him. So now that Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami has described this very in detail, the personality of Kartavirya Arjuna, he portrayed him as a very, very powerful man. And now we come to the scene. Now, once while enjoying in the water of the river Narmada, now he uses an adjective, now the puffed up Kartavirya Arjuna. Now he's indicating very proud, surrounded by beautiful women. So he wasn't a saint, definitely. He liked to enjoy. So he was surrounded by women, garland with a garland of victory, stopped the flow of the water with his arms. This is again another symbol of power. He had 1,000 arms, he's like the wind. He also can stop the river. Imagine, rivers are very powerful. Those of you who have been in the Ganges, you can see how strong is the Ganges River. Imagine this, stop a river with your arms. So then, because Kartavirya Arjuna made the water flow in the opposite direction, then he was causing trouble to another powerful personality. Who was the other person? Just to keep you awake and not trying to bother. Yes. Ravana. Yes. So I know that you're following. And so yes, Ravana. And so what happened with the river? Yeah, it accumulated and then it was in the opposite direction and inundated which city? Where Ravana was there. Yeah, it was near the city of Mahishmati, it's described here. So imagine, it came all this flooding, and this again, the inundations, floods are very disturbing, and we also are aware that every year we have these problems, after hurricanes, there are floods, and it's a disaster every time. So Ravana, for him, it was unbearable with his 10-headed. He was upset, very upset again. So Srimad Bhagavatam always is describing the same thing that we are going on every day. So people get upset, and then there is a conflict. So Ravana, even he was very powerful, he got upset with this inundation, and the cause was Kartavirya Arjuna, so he attempted to insult Kartavirya Arjuna. Again, it's like a kindergarten also. That happened. One kid get upset and he insults the other. And then we become adults and we do the same. We insult in different ways. So in the presence the women, who was very, in this context, Kartavira Arjuna, he was being worshipped, I mean, he was enjoying with different women, and for this type of personality, like being insulted in front of your lovers, it's really doesn't seems very good. And so it was a very humiliating situation if you are insulting. So Kartavira Arjuna immediately, because he was more powerful than Ravana, he put him in custody in the city of Mahishmati. And Ravana was like a monkey, like was easily taken care of by Kartavira Arjuna. So you can imagine how powerful should have been Parasurama. If Kartavira Arjuna had a problem and didn't have any problem controlling Ravana, and Ravana was so powerful. Even in the Leela, Ramachandra has some difficulties even fighting Ravana. I mean, for the sake of the Leela, but here, Kartavira Arjuna, he's not an incarnation, and he's just arresting him. So, once, Kartavira Arjuna, so Sukadeva Goswami have proved, have given evidence that Kartavira Arjuna was very powerful. To give evidence of that, he mentioned Ravana and the river, and wandering in the universe. And how he get that? By worshipping the Lord. And now, Kartavira Arjuna is wandering and engaged in a solitary forest in hunting. And he approached the residence of Jamadagni. And Jamadagni is the father of Parasurama. So the sage Jamadagni, who was engaged in great austerities in the forest, received the king very well. So again, this is Vedic culture, that you receive everyone. So in our temple also, when people come, they're supposed to receive them. Everyone should be welcome. Even sometimes people are not in condition to enter in the temple, but at least we give something, some water, some sweets. So Kartavira Arjuna was welcomed by the soldiers, who, along with his soldiers, ministers, and carriers. So he came with a whole army, and he was supplied with all necessities that a guest need. And in this culture, in Vedic culture, there was puja, worshipping, everything. So every culture had a way of worshipping someone, but the principle in Vedic culture is that you please your guest. They have to feel welcome. Otherwise, you commit an offense. It's considered offensive. But the same in our culture. If you go to visit someone and you are not well received, then you become upset. So now Srila Prabhupada so till here it comes the story, then tomorrow the next speaker will continue, but now we are going to the purport. So Srila Prabhupada said that the lesson to learn here, which is the lesson that we can learn? Yeah, from this. Prabhupada said that there is a lesson to learn. Not from this, but in general, from this pastime. Yes. Okay, that's a lesson. So you are saying that Kartavira Arjuna, this is a little bit different, I think, the lesson here. So you're saying that Kartavira Arjuna was, he felt envy? Because of the Kamadhenu cow. Yeah. And because of the envy. Yes. Yeah, Adanta Govir, Vishatanta Mission. No, they cannot control the senses. They go. It's a cause of falling down. Yes. Okay, that's good. Very nice. So we have Srila Prabhupada. He said, because one may possess unusual opulence in this material world, but if one becomes puffed up and acts whimsically, he will be punished by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the lesson to learn from this history, in which Parasurama became angry at Kartavira Arjuna and killed him, and read the entire world of Kshatriyas 21 times. And so this is the lesson. Don't be proud. Yeah, otherwise you will be punished. And there are many ways that the Lord will be punished, but the most basic way the Lord will punish anyone like who is powerful is by taking away all his opulences, either during this life or at the end by death. But it's sure that the Lord will take everything. He's Hari, he can take everything. But especially at the time of death. So Krishna, nobody can avoid Krishna, regardless of beliefs that you have, because Krishna has said, I am death. So he's death, so everyone believes in death, everyone accepts death. And that means for a very opulent person that all your powers will be taken away. But sometimes with these powerful personalities, the Lord sometimes he himself taking care. And so we'll go to the purport to the first part now. So we know that's the overall lesson. And so the Brahma Samhita informs us that the spiritual world, and especially the planet Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna lives, is full of what is in the spiritual world, with kind of animal. Yeah, Kamadhenu cows. So imagine like the spiritual world is full of these Kamadhenu cows, and Jamadagni had only one cow, one Kamadhenu cow, and with one Kamadhenu cow he was able to do whatever he wanted. It's like, it's a very powerful or multi-use cow. It's not only just giving milk, but it can give everything. Nowadays we have experience with cell phones, like you can do, like you can pay your bills. Now with the phone is like multi-purpose. No? Like you can call someone, you can send a message, you can insult someone, you can bully people, you can do so many things with a phone. But the Kamadhenu cow, it was not just an artifact, it was a living being, but who served many purposes. And in the same way that people become envious when you have a gadget that others don't have. Like, again, that's from kindergarten, like people have envy. When another friend has something new, oh, you have a new Galaxy, whatever, Samsung. So let me see it, and they may throw it in the, oh, I'm sorry, it fell down. So you don't like others to have something that you don't have. It's not nice for an envious person. And Kartavira Arjuna, although he was so powerful, still is never satisfied, no? Because Bhagavad Gita said the last, he will never be satisfied. Dhyayato Vishayam Punsa, do you know? Yes, Sangat Sanjayate Kama. So he contemplated the cow, he developed Sangat, attachment for the cow. Oh, how nice it would be if I can have that cow. And so we will see later on what happened, because the Bhagavatam Shukadeva Goswami first is giving the general history, and then we'll go back to this story. So there are many of these Kamadhenu cows. They can fulfill all kind of desires. So Jamadagni, although he didn't have much possession, just with that cow, he was able to do, to achieve many purposes, very intelligently. Instead of, sometimes we can have so many things, but if you have only what you need, that's the conception of nectar of instruction, prayasas. We have don't over endeavor for things, and also atyahara, don't accumulate more things that you need. So sometimes you just look for the one thing that will be like the one that will fulfill all other things. So just having a Kamadhenu cow, amazing. You don't have to keep so many things, just one cow. And so the king was astonished at how opulent Jamadagni was because of possessing only one cow, and therefore he became envious of the great sage. This was the beginning of his offense. So the offense is envy, the beginning. Once you have envy, you have to watch out. You have to take care how to control that envy, because it will be manifested and then you commit an offense with a person. So dealing with people is difficult, but especially in spiritual settings, because it's like when you have, we learn about Vaishnava culture, and how the devotees are being glorified in the scriptures. And then, so they have power, the devotees, especially when they are very advanced. And when you commit an offense, there is a reaction also. And also in any setting, in government, if you commit an offense with a person who is very powerful in government, you can go to jail. So offenses come because of uncontrolled senses, lack of etiquette. There are many ways. You can commit offenses also by ignorance, just because you don't know the procedures. That also considered an offense sometimes. You don't greet someone in the morning, act like the other person doesn't exist, and the other person may feel offended. You didn't even say good morning. Hello. We commit offenses every day this way. And so feeling of neglection, also people feel offended. But there are offenses that are very heavy, like the one that Kartavir Arjuna committed, like stealing someone's property, because you don't have something and just taking away. So stealing, and again, is something that happens in all stratas of society. It's not that only people who don't have the resources who will steal from others, but we see here, even a millionaire can steal, like Kartavir Arjuna, he was very powerful, and he just want to steal Kamadhenu cow. It's amazing. And so also the people who have more money, sometimes they try to get more money even, steal. So there's not a guarantee that because you have a lot of things, then you say, now I'm calm, I'm peaceful, I don't need anything else. No, always you need something else. And there are different pastimes in Bhagavatam about stealing, even how offensive it is to steal, but sometimes you may take the property of a Brahmana without knowing it, and still you commit an offense, like King Nigra. King Nigra commit an offense by taking a cow from another property of the Brahmana, and then he got chastised also. He became a lizard. And so the offense of Karta Virya Arjuna will be death penalty almost. And you can read later. There are many points that will come in this pastime, but according to this purport, so far the main point is how envy and pride can cause trouble in your life. Not only in your spiritual life, but in any kind of settings. People who are envious and who are very proud are not very welcome in any kind of society generally. Like people, like children, even who are rejected, are, according to statistics, are children who are the most aggressive with others. Usually nobody wants to be with them. And also, if a child has fame of stealing, he's not like become dear to everyone. Okay? People don't like them, and then so the scriptures also give us yamas and niyamas. Now, for practicing yoga, we have to follow certain rules and regulations. In a Vaishnava environment, we have a specific guidelines not to avoid offenses, and there are basic guidelines in either how to serve devotees, or even how to conduct yourself in a temple, for example. Then you have guidelines in deity worship, because we can commit offenses also with the deities. So sometimes devotees become very overwhelmed by this, because they say, oh, they are sincere, and because they are sincere, they become afraid. Oh, I may commit an offense. And sometimes it may happen that you start acting like a robot, because you don't know how to interact, because at any step you make spadam padam vyapi padam, but like you can commit an offense. At any step there is danger. So knowing, or having some understanding of basic things, it can help. And to move more comfortable among spiritual practitioners, and also around to access to different services once you know. So there are small things that we learn, like cleanliness. There are cleanliness. There are a lot of specific things, rules. So when you don't follow them and you try to do a service without cleaning yourself, then you're committing a deity seva. And then you can commit offense to a devotee if you don't know. For instance, there is a sannyasi, and you don't know that you have to bow down or offer some respect. It may be another source of offense. Because if you know the culture, if you know the culture and then you don't do it, or enter in the temple and don't pay obeisances, sometimes we see that all the time. Someone enters and go directly to Krishna, neglecting Srila Prabhupada. And that's another kind of neglecting the acharya. When you don't know, it's okay, but if you know, then... So there are many ways we have to be aware in dealing. And again, when there is a plate of food, and you're hungry, what you do? We put all the plates there with names, no? For instance, in a temple, there are the names, and if somebody comes and takes your plate, the person will feel also offended like that. So there are so many ways of committing offenses, and also so many ways of being envious. And the scriptures give basic tips to avoid, how to control this situation. But the most basic thing is start by having some common sense knowledge, of some common education on how to deal with others. But then, if you want to go more subtle, then you need the spiritual practices. You need to clean the heart, because you can restrain yourself from envy and anger to a certain extent, but if you really want to conquer anger, conquer envy, conquer all these bad qualities, then you need a spiritual strength. And in order to get a spiritual strength, you need to practice Anushilanam, or activities that have been given by the Acharya, by the master, by the experts in the field of spirituality or the Vaishnavism. And these practices are, what are those practices? What are the basic practices of bhakti that will give you or will help you to, as a byproduct, will help you to control your senses? What are these practices? Yeah, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And again, if you do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, how to do it? Also, there are proper ways of doing it. It's like Shravanam is not like, or Kirtan is not just chanting the holy name, but there are specific, although Lord Chaitanya said there are no rules and regulations, but we know, he also acknowledged that you can commit offenses to the holy name. So there are not strict rules and regulations, there are some rules and regulations. And one of them is to pay attention. So paying attention to the holy name, or paying attention to whatever you're doing when it comes to Sravanam and Kirtanam. So attention is a very basic thing, and it's perhaps the most difficult for most like generation of the new generation of Vaishnavas perhaps in the modern society, because like even in Bhagavatam it's difficult to keep attention for many reasons, and in any setting when you are chanting rounds by yourself, also your mind can wander to any place, and that's offensive. And when we say the word offense, it's not like the Lord become like very upset, or the holy name is like, but it's the neglect. You don't get the result of the practice by doing this. And also, by not paying attention, we miss a lot of details in the scriptures when we're reading, for instance. Not detail like just for the sake of knowledge, but we miss the details for practicing. No? Like verses so like Matresh Parshastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukada. No? That verse, you may know that verse by heart, by memory, so you read all over, but you miss the detail that is a verse to apply at every minute, to be able to tolerate. If you can tolerate, then you can avoid anger and you can avoid envy. If you just learn that basic tip that Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita, tolerate provoking situations like happiness and distress that are coming all the time. Sometimes. So that's such a basic concept, and it's very missed most of the time. We have so much knowledge, but when it comes to interactions, we become upset by petty things. And so what is the use of all the knowledge? And so therefore, we have this Srimad Bhagavatam that is giving these stories, but the things that are happening here can happen to everyone. It's not like you're just reading a story, oh, Kartavirya Arjuna, he became envy, and he stole a Kamadhenu cow. No, but Bhagavatam is teaching us, so don't be envy. That's what it's saying. That's not pleasing. Envy and stealing, again, it's not pleasing. Trying to become powerful in the material world just for the sake of being powerful doesn't bring any happiness. And you have the example here. So you can learn by seeing, by hearing, or by committing the mistakes. So do you have any realization on this basic topic? And very important very important for the relationships, for everything, for an organization. Okay.
I'm wondering, the proper way we hear that it's like a combination of our effort and Krishna's mercy that we make advancement in Krishna consciousness. But it seems like a lot of times I've experienced like a misplacement of effort. Like if I try really hard to become good at kirtan, or like study really hard so I can learn these things, but then it usually results in me becoming proud, like this story. So I'm wondering if that's like how do we apply our effort? Like it's like if you put your effort into the external things of devotional service, I mean, you have to do that, but it seems like there can be a lot of anarthas can come from that if you develop like a lot of intensity to do kirtan, but then you make all sorts of offenses to devotees, like that for example. So I'm wondering if you have any advice about that.
Thank you. So you're saying that sometimes you may endeavor a lot to improve in your skills in devotional service, like kirtan, and trying to become better at kirtan. But as a result, you may become proud. That's what you're saying. So, yeah, I think that you receive you ask the same question to similar one senior devotee, like Mandawao, and I remember now, and he said that you should do both, no? Like don't become proud and endeavor to to do the best. So I will keep to that also, but I will add that in order to, like when we are practicing skills and we become better at something, we have. It's good to understand the science of that what you're learning. If you really learn it well, you won't become proud. In terms of basic things like it's too low. Like for instance, in music, that there is always somebody who is more expert than oneself. So how can you become proud if you have some understanding, some knowledge, like you know. Like if you're surrounded by people who don't know and you're the only who knows, you might become some proud. But if you are aware and also try to learn always more, you will go, like you try to learn from a better Mridanga player than you. Either you watch videos, wherever, and you know that there is always somebody who can do better for you. That's all over. Somewhere else, somebody is better than oneself. And then if you also learn the science, you can understand that some people, because of different reasons, they cannot learn the same way that you learn, because they may not have the same either ability, the same background. So you become more, you can understand others, like instead of being proud and say, oh, you don't know how to play, but understand like, oh, he's having difficulty, so you try to teach others. And so that way, instead of becoming proud, you become more compassive. You know more, and now you can help others. Well, like many devotees here that they help with, like they learn Mridanga, then they become Mridanga teachers. And if you're playing a kirtan and somebody's playing the kartalas, and they don't know how to play, there are many ways to stop the devotee to, but not like taking the kartala and looking at them. And say, you don't play, you don't know how to play. No, but there are gentle ways to say it, and then approach the devotee and notice when you're playing the cartas, you go off of beat. So let me help you, or you can play. No, I will teach you something, so you don't commit offense. But yeah. But if there is knowledge, knowledge means humility. One of the basic things, like a philosopher, Socrates, he said, I only know that I know nothing, basically. I don't know the specific phrase in English. So when you know something very well, you realize that you don't know. If you study Bhagavatam very well, you realize, oh, I don't know much about the Vedas, because you become deeper and deeper. Everything in this material world it's almost unlimited. Like if you take an atom and then you try to check the atom, it becomes big and big. So any knowledge, you say the art of playing mridanga, oh, I got it. No, like if you really go deep and deep and deep and deep, you never end, and there will be always someone who knows better, and many areas of that one can focus. So no way becoming proud, but ordinary people always surrounded by people who know less than themselves, so they can and then they become proud, because of course nobody can surpass you. But better teach them, and they will become better than you. You teach others, and then they become better than you, and then you realize, I know nothing. I never knew anything. I just help you, on the way. Okay, so that may help.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your class. I'll try to say my question quick because I have to go soon. Thank you for your class, first of all. I have a question, but first a comment. When I read this pastime, all the pastimes are the same, like Katsavi Arjuna. We all had the same mentality, all the devotees, that the mentality is, I wish everything will go my way. Hiranyakashipu prayed that, this devotee, this demon prayed this. So I was just talking with one devotee last night, and we were discussing that with the Tasha, that Krishna is always smiling. Why? Because everything could go his way. He's the supreme controller. And why we aren't smiling all the time? Because things don't go our way. So you were mentioning in your classes that when you commit offenses, Krishna will take your opulence away. But we also hear so many pastimes that when you commit offenses, Krishna will give you opulences. And when you don't commit offenses, he'll take away your opulences. So my question is that when things go our way, and when you see things go other people's way, they have opulences, they could be committing offenses, and Krishna's blessing them with opulences due to the offenses. So how do you determine for our own spiritual development when we're committing offenses? Because it's, it doesn't seem like there's a black and white answer. So my understanding is when you lose your taste for Krishna Katha, so maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit. All right, Hare Krishna. Should have said something.
Okay, let me try to be quick. So the result in a spiritual life, a result of an offense is more material desire, more craving for things that take you away from devotional service, regardless of what Krishna takes or give you. Like either if Krishna give you opulence, if the opulence doesn't interrupt your devotional service, it's fine. But if you're feeling in your heart that you cannot have a taste for the practices of bhakti, you're chanting Hare Krishna, and it doesn't, you cannot even move your mouth, like Krishna, and you're like, and you asleep, Krishna, Krishna. Yes, that happened. So then I may have committed, I'm doing something wrong in the process too, because I'm not having taste. So also if you read the Prabhupada books, you say, so you're losing the taste for the practice. And then you see a devotee, you say, But then also you're losing time for being around with the devotee, etc. So maybe you reflect, because you have some understanding of the philosophies. Maybe I'm doing something wrong because I'm not obtaining this. I have to go back to the basics and practice. So that would be more a result of an offense, no more in the external way, the Christian. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.